Item F4 is request to delete tax administration fee. Mr. Curmi.
All right, the tax administration fee, for everybody's benefit, we began levying in 2018 a 1% administration fee, which is on the bottom line of your tax bill you just paid. The revenue can only be used for the treasurer and the assessing departments. The fee is not a tax, and it cannot be deducted, although it is in many cases by mistake, on your 1040 Schedule A. Many townships collect the fee throughout, especially in the north, the small townships. Northville Township stopped collecting it several years ago. This action will save about $50 to $150 per household per year, depending on how much tax you pay. So if you pay $5,000 a year in property tax, you'll save $50. Interest rate, the reason why I think we don't need this is interest earnings have risen sharply since 2022, and this will substantially offset the anticipated $830,000 annual revenue reduction caused by deleting this collection fee. When the fee isn't collected, the treasurer can negotiate with other taxing authorities like Schoolcraft College and the school district a fee per parcel to collect money for them. You cannot do that if you have a tax administration fee on your tax bill. I have proposed the offsets, and we can go through them. The first one is an estimate of $80,000 that we could receive in per parcel fees. Bob, how reasonable is that? I'm assuming it's $3 a parcel.
It's overstating because the community, if you survey some communities that do that, and most, if you fill the room with township or with treasurers across the state of Michigan and you ask them to raise their hand as to which communities charge it, most everyone in the room would raise their hand. That's what happened when I was at a conference last year.
Raise their hand and to mean
that
what?
they do the 1% fee.
Yeah, it's widely done.
It's widely done. So $80,000, I think, is way overstating it for a couple of reasons. One, you can't do it in the winter because you're already sending out tax bills to collect for the township. So it's summer only. You can't collect from Wayne County. So you'd have Schoolcraft and Plymouth Canton schools would.
What about the DIA and those people?
That's winter. You can't do it.
You can't do
All
right.
Wayne County. So the most I would estimate that we could probably do, and I did check with Schoolcraft, and I checked with the city of, I checked around a lot, but I was in communication with Schoolcraft, and the most we could probably get out of them would be maybe 14 or 15,000. So in total, I wouldn't expect it to be optimistically not more than 35 to 40,000. And then the second part of that is that they would likely want to bring the revenue generated from the tax account. They would want that. If
You mean they would want the interest?
They want the interest, sorry.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. So I think that's not.
Okay, so that's overstated.
I think it is.
When you add up these numbers, they add up for more than 830,000, so there's some cushion. The next one is incremental interest revenue, which I don't think is completely captured in the budget. Interest rates are rising, and they're going to be strong. One thing we're doing in this budget is we are spending the interest that we're earning, so we're getting a bump in addition to the 1%. So it's kind of a bonus. This budget is, in my opinion, kind of fat. So
let me address.
Tell me about this one.
Yeah, let me address that. So in the budget, there's about 1.28 million in interest. And that's spread across, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 13 funds. So each of those funds has savings, and the savings is generating anywhere from 4.5% to 5.25%, all in principal protected investments. So it's earning a lot of money this year. Chuck's absolutely right on that. We're projecting this year in total to earn about, I'm going to guess about 1.5 to 1.6 by the time that it's done. However, the thing to keep in mind is that the fund that has the savings that is earning that interest belongs to that fund.
Right.
So water and sewer has the lion's share of that, because water and sewer has a lot of money in savings because we put money aside in the water and sewer fund over the years to accumulate money for big projects as they come along. So in the general fund, if your assumption is that there would be an additional 350,000 in the general fund, that would have to move that to about 800K, which I don't think it's.
Well, this year, 2023, we booked about 420,000 in interest. Is that right, in 2023?
So in 2023.
General fund.
So far, 368 through September. So that would have to generate another, by the end of the year, we should be about, in the general fund, the interest will do kind of this over the course of the year, even if rates remain flat. And the reason is that we take in all the taxes in December, January, February, so we have a lot of money earning interest, and as the year goes on, we spend down. So by October, November, we're earning less interest in the general fund. So in total, we should probably do about maybe close to 500 in the general fund. To get that to 800, and in the budget for 23-24, we have 450K projected in interest in the general fund. To get that to 800 would require an additional 350,000 to be earned in the general fund, and that would mean that interest rates would have to go to 8 or 9% before that would happen.
Okay, so that 350 is a little fat, but I still think that there's some extra money that we're not booking. So anyway, there's a plus there, but it's not 350, we don't think right now. Unless-
Yeah, I was conservative, and I will, I'll acknowledge that. So I was conservative when I gave the numbers, for the budget.
460.
Yeah, because who knows? I mean, rates could start dropping again.
They're not acting like it in the last week.
I know, but I stopped predicting the future a long time ago because I found I wasn't very good at it.
Yeah, you're right. If we were good at it, you wouldn't get up in the morning, you'd put your money down at the square.
I wouldn't be here right now if I was good at it.
You'd be in a futures contract,
Yeah.
counting your money.
Sounds like gambling.
All right, number 3 is the utility truck, and the fire chief, when we were discussing, said that's one thing that he could forego, so that's why I put that on there. Picnic tables in the park, they're nice, but we could take those out. Number 5 is Gary Heitman Economic Development is what I think. Elizabeth, is that right, that $8,000 that's in the line item?
Yeah, it was
Yes.
32. I took it down to 8. Gary's billed us about $400.
Yeah, he's not billing a lot, but that's in the budget, so that's what our baseline is. The police capital outlay, which we're buying from the general fund some product that we aren't normally doing. Chief Nitel, we know.
Police vehicles.
Police vehicles.
Correct.
So $50,000 is about 1.3% of the total budget of the $3 million in the police department. So I thought we could find something there, extend the life of a vehicle, or explain to me why we don't have enough money in the drug forfeiture right now to buy the police vehicles, all of them that we want.
Yeah, our forfeiture money that's in that account would not sustain the purchase of the vehicles. Having a police officer ride a police vehicle over 100,000 miles, I would not recommend that. And I don't think any police should.
All right, well, this is proposing a workaround. There's others, it's not just police vehicles, there's other things that we're buying in there. But that would be up to the discretion of the department head to come up with the 50,000. It's like a task that you get on your budget. So that was that idea. And then the 40,000 was police operational. You know, I don't know whether that's overtime or other things. Again, you know your budget better than anybody else. And there has been a lot of growth in the budget, so I would think that these small, you know, typically 1 to 2% can be taken out of budgets fairly easily. And then number 8 is what I did here. I think we had, how much did we have in for the generator? Was it 60,000?
I thought it was 50.
Pardon? 50, you're right, 50. So this is what I've said repeatedly is take that $5,000 and repair the one we have, because I don't think it's safe to go without a generator. But this generator that we're proposing for $50,000 is big enough for the proposed, planned, new fire station. So I'm saying for this year, just get the thing fixed. I realize, you know, when you get your vehicle fixed, there's a 90-day warranty. Yeah, there's gonna be a warranty, and they'll say they can't guarantee it for the life of it, but $5,000, fix it. So there's 45 there. But my point is that these changes are well within reasonable budget cuts. I say we give the people of this community some relief. They're under pressure. I know $150 or $50, you know, is a dinner, but at least it shows the commitment to tightening our belt, and we continue to receive more tax money, more development. Our tax dollars, we get the inflation increase. So I strongly think that we should do this. I've been trying to bring this for 3 years, and I know that there's been some blocking of it, but I'd like you to consider this today and move forward on it. So any questions?
Yeah, so my comment is that I don't agree with the approach, because what you're asking us to do is cut recurring revenue. And if you cut recurring revenue, then you need to cut recurring expense. And these are one-time expenses. So you've cut the recurring revenue stream out, and you've just done something for 1 year, and that doesn't make any sense. When you look at our budget in its totality, about 70% of the of our budget is people costs. It's salaries, it's benefits, it's retirement, but it's all related to people. And of that 70%, around 70% of that is for public safety, police and fire. So that means that about half of our budget is people for police and fire. Those are recurring expenses. People are recurring expenses. And we look around and we're lean. You know, we're finally at full staff again in police and fire, and I think that's largely in part to the fact that the voters voted to support the millages to fund police and fire properly. We're back to that point now, and that's a positive thing. But unless you cut recurring costs, and in my view, unless you're willing to cut people, you're not going to cut that. You're not going to create that savings on a recurring basis year after year.
Yeah, I didn't say cut people, but for example,
You never said that, but
Yeah.
I'm saying these one-time shots then next year what happens? You don't buy the truck again, and what happens the year after that, and the year after that, year after that? It's not a solution.
well, revenue naturally increases as
Some-
we have more uncapping of homes sold.
Yeah.
You have more development, like
does go up.
Nell Hydro, and you receive the inflationary increase on the taxable value. State shared revenue, I don't know, maybe it won't go up with the strike going on with the UAW. So there's economies everywhere. So I urge you to think about it. We're not saying cut people, but we also can longer term rationalize some of our healthcare costs. We have probably 10 different plans that people have. There's things we can do without cutting people. We're not saying that.
I know, and I don't mean to put words in your
Yeah.
mouth. You did not say that. But what I'm saying is because our lion's share of our costs are people costs, 70% of what we
It's the
spend.
nature of the business.
It's people, it's services. So you cut expenses means that you cut services. And there's nowhere that I see in the organization where we could cut services.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I would just like to make a comment that, just over the past couple months, this board met with both the police department and the fire department and realized that we had true difficulty recruiting people. And then we said that we're going to have to offer people who want to come here to be a police officer or a fireman, we have to offer them some sort of parity. If they have 5 years of service somewhere else, but they'd like to work in Plymouth Township, but they couldn't come in at the bottom because they have family needs. I mean, they have their family they have to support, and they can't come here. And so we then decided that we had to incentivize people to come to work here. All of us realize that under the situation that we're in here, we're talking double-digit inflation has been going on for the past 2.5 years. The cost is not going down, folks. And I'm not going to be a person who's going to cut public safety. I'm not going to cut police, and I'm going to cut fire, I'm going to cut emergency service. On top of that, I might add, my dear fellow citizens, the majority of you voted for the changes in the election law. It's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to pull this off. Not only that, it's going to cost police and fire protection during those times. Under the situation that we've had in the past, we've had to have police presence at all of the precincts. Now we're going to have police presence at all the precincts for 9 days.
Not all the precincts, that one.
Yes.
One.
Thank you, but.
Risen Christ Church.
Yeah, but
the 9 days.
But for 9 days, and we have to go back to the other precincts later on, and we have to do that 3 times. So I would caution, not knowing what our real costs are going to be for the election process that everybody voted for, 2/3 of the people in the state of Michigan voted for this, you're going to have to pay for it. You're not going to get people to competently service and administer the election process for $15 an hour. You're not going to get it. It's not going to happen, folks. It's going to cost a lot more money.
Well, the other thing, and just to underscore your point, is that, we want to be an employer of choice, and we want to attract the best people that we can. And we're competing with the private sector. We're competing with other communities. And it's a reality. We've lost a lot of good candidates to either other communities or to the private sector as a result of that in a number of areas. It's a reality. We're doing the same. We're going through the same thing that a lot of major corporations that many of you work for or have worked for are going through recruiting talent.
And I want to tell you, I'm not going to be on the front line of defunding the police. It's not going to happen on my watch.
That's not what we're saying, but you have a good point Jerry, about elections. From a recurring standpoint, we're not going to have the election expenses in 2025 that we have in 2024.
Yes, we will, because we have to build a facility. You have to realize that not only...
Now you're jumping to the building a building, right?
We have to.
We don't have to. We got to study that.
I know you don't like it.
Maybe we'll use
I know
the
you're an
old
election
fire
denier and you don't like it.
we're off
But
topic.
listen, it's going to cost money,
You're a
folks.
denier of reality.
No, I understand reality very well. So if he wants to call a motion.
Okay, I need, any other questions?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion's made by trustee Curmi. Is there a second?
I move that the Plymouth Township Board of Trustees approve Resolution 2023-10-24-92 to halt collection of the 1% property tax administration fee beginning with the December 2023 tax bills and implement the revenue increases and budget reductions to offset the anticipated administration fee revenue reduction.
Okay, motion's made by trustee Curmi. Is there a second? Hearing none, the motion fails for lack of support. Thank you.
I tried.
Okay, so next we have